Hello, this is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 133, 1 Kings, chapters 3 and 4. If you enjoy this podcast and the Skeptics Annotated Bible website, consider supporting us at patreon.com/BFW. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
We're all into Solomon now.
Yes, we are. And we probably have the most famous story about Solomon.
Okay, let's get going.
Okay, chapter 3, verse 1. Solomon became friends with the Egyptian Pharaoh and took his daughter.
All right. Is that what it says in the Bible? Took his daughter?
Yeah, it does. And I think what it means there is for a wife.
Uh-huh.
I think he's really making like a political alliance with the Pharaoh.
That phrase, hey, you, come on over here, I'm taking you.
Yeah.
He brought her to Jerusalem while he built his house, God's house, and the wall around the city. There's a lot of building going on there.
Yeah, Solomon's famous for building. That's what we're going to hear about a lot, is his architectural efforts.
Okay. But the people sacrificed in high places since God's house hadn't been built yet.
Yeah, so God's house is going to be the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have a temple yet.
No.
And so they're still sacrificing kind of here and there. And they tend to do it on high places.
Why do I remember that high places are bad?
High places are bad. I mean, they're bad. That God doesn't like them. And the reason is because usually that's where the other gods have their sacrifices.
Oh. And he wants to be above the other gods, so he kind of is in a higher place, maybe.
Well, maybe he doesn't like the competition. Maybe he doesn't like the idea that there's other sacrifices going on around him.
Could be.
They could get confused, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Solomon loved God like his father David, but he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places.
So is this going to be something God doesn't like about Solomon?
Yeah, it's not clear here. He's sacrificing and he's burning incense, but who is he doing that to? Is it to God or is it one of the other gods? So that's not very clear.
Mm-hmm. Along with what we just said about having the altar in the high places.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll have to keep reading to figure that out.
Yeah.
Solomon made 1,000 burnt offerings at the great high place in Gibeon.
Yeah, and there again it doesn't say who the sacrifice was to. While Solomon was in Gibeon, God appeared to him in a dream and said, "What would you like me to give you?"
He's like a genie.
It is,
3
exactly.
wishes.
Only he doesn't give him 3 choices. Just says, "What would you like?"
Solomon said, "Wisdom."
And you'll notice there that there's actually 3 verses there that I'm condensing into one word.
Oh, yeah?
It's a long, he goes on and on about, he makes a little speech. But basically he's saying, I'd like to be smart. God said, "Okay, I'll make you the wisest person who has ever lived. I'll also make you the richest king. And if you walk in my ways like David did, you'll live a long life."
But when Solomon awoke, he realized it was only a dream.
Yeah, and that's the way the Bible puts it. When he woke up, he realized it was a dream. So,
God isn't going to make him
so
wise.
what's the
and
point?
make
I
him
have
rich.
dreams like that all the time. Well, they're not like that, actually. But so is it telling us to just ignore all that? I don't think so, because dreams are pretty important in the Bible. God speaks to people in dreams all the time in the Bible.
Yes. Okay, verse 16. One day, 2 prostitutes came to Solomon. One of them said to him,
"I delivered a baby while living in the same house as this woman. When my baby was 3 days old, she delivered her own baby. Her baby died because she mistakenly laid on top of it."
Okay, that's pretty awful.
"She got up at midnight and took my son while I was sleeping and laid her dead son next to me."
I never knew the specifics of that story. Just reading it for the first time, it's pretty awful. First of all,
That happens.
that happens.
Yeah.
Especially when you have like a communal bed or a bed where you sleep with your babies.
Oh, yeah. If you're sleeping with a baby, that's a real danger, even today, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so she swapped babies at midnight.
Yeah. Because they were both about the same age. They're only 3 days apart, right?
Uh-huh. So the other woman said, "No, the living son is mine. Hers is dead."
Solomon said, "Bring me a sword."
When the sword was brought, Solomon said, "Cut the baby in two and give one half to each woman." Whoa, that is a pretty cool thing that Solomon thought up there.
It is, sort of. What if they both said, okay? I guess he kind of knew he wasn't because he was so smart.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So maybe he did get a little bit of wisdom from that dream after all.
Or maybe he was like the scarecrow and he had his wisdom all along.
Yeah, maybe he was.
Yeah.
So verse 26, the mother of the living baby said, "Don't kill the child. Give it to her."
The other mother said, "Go ahead, cut it in two."
Oh. So do we know which was which?
Yeah, King Solomon does, and we do too.
So then King Solomon said, "Give the child to the first woman. She's the mother."
Yeah, the one that said just give it to her. Don't cut her in two.
And after that, everyone feared Solomon and saw that the wisdom of God was in him.
Yeah, that's a nice story.
Yes, it is. It's a nice change from the mob boss from the last episode, where he was just saying, "Okay, go kill that guy."
You know, if it wasn't that we knew how Solomon started his reign by carrying out his father's hit list, you'd think, well, this Solomon's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, this is the first story you hear.
But we know better, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to chapter 4 then. Before we go on to chapter 4, notice that I'm starting with verse 20.
Oh, yes. What's between 1 and 20?
Well, the first 19 verses are a list of Solomon's administration.
Oh.
You know, who's his priests and who's his military leaders, and a big long list of his officers.
Okay.
The only thing that's interesting in it, and I'm leaving it out, and I want to mention it here, is that it does mention 2 of Solomon's daughters.
Oh.
They're
in his administration?
No, some of his officers married his daughters.
Oh, okay.
So 2 of his officers married his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
One of his daughters' name was Bashmath.
Okay.
And the other was Tiphaf.
Bashmath and Tiphaf. Okay.
I don't know why people don't name their kids that anymore, their daughters that anymore. But yeah, those are the only 2 daughters that we know of. And later on we'll see that he only has 1 son.
Solomon only had 1 son?
1 son, 2 daughters.
Huh.
And we'll find out later
surprising.
how many wives he has.
Oh, yeah. Because he took that first one.
As the first one, yeah. He has a lot more. We'll see later.
Okay.
So we'll just start with verse 20.
Great. There were as many people in Judah and Israel as there are grains of sand on all the shores of the sea. They all ate, drank, and were merry.
Yeah, it was a happy kingdom.
Yeah, this is like
Big happy kingdom.
The first line of a fairy tale.
Solomon's kingdom spread from Egypt and the land of the Philistines to the Euphrates River. Everyone served him and brought him lots of presents.
Every day Solomon got 30 measures of flour, 30 measures of meal, 10 fat oxen, 100 fatted fowls, and a partridge in a pear tree. Okay, wait a minute. You added that.
Well, I had the last part
Okay.
there. Yeah. But he got that other stuff. And he probably got a partridge in a pear tree, too.
Yeah, yeah.
A measure, by the way, is a big unit. It's 220 liters.
Oh.
So
Every day you got that?
Every day you got that. Yeah.
Well, and it's mostly for the people in the kitchen who are working and cooking for him and his administration.
It's probably to feed his wives. Right? Yeah. Everyone in Judah and Israel lived in peace under his vine and fig tree.
That's a big fig tree and vine.
Yeah. We have a vine that we live in peace under, right?
Yes. And Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses and 12,000 horsemen.
God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding, and a heart that was like the sand on the seashore.
A little sand grain.
Like the Grinch's heart, right? Only he had a lot of them.
That's right.
Little teeny hearts, a lot of them, I guess.
He was, in fact, wiser than any man who has ever lived. He was even wiser than Heman.
Then Heman.
He-Man.
Yeah, you heard of He-Man, haven't you?
Yeah, that little figurine that kids play with.
Yeah, he was even wiser than him.
Okay, is there really a He-Man in the Bible?
Yes, there is really a He-Man in the Bible, and Solomon was wiser than He-Man.
Okay.
And it says so right in that verse. I'm not making that up.
All right.
Solomon spoke 3,000 proverbs and wrote 1,005 songs.
And do we have any of those songs? Word-wise?
Well, what they're really referring to here, I think, is the Song of Solomon.
Oh, yeah.
And the Proverbs. There's a book that's called The Wisdom of Solomon that is in the Apocrypha. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of psalmy-like stuff that is kind of poetry that's in the Bible that's attributed to Solomon. Certainly he didn't write it. It's unlikely that there was such a person as Solomon. But he did write 1,005 songs.
Whoever was impersonating him.
But that's not the most songs that anybody's ever written. You know who that is?
No.
Well, I'm not sure, but I think it might be Willie Nelson.
Really?
Yeah, Willie Nelson, according to Wikipedia, has 337 songs that are listed on the Wikipedia website for Willie Nelson.
300 or 3,000?
337.
Okay.
That's not as many as Solomon, but I saw somewhere else online that says that he's written 2,500 songs. So Willie Nelson has written 2,500 songs, so that beats Solomon.
Yes.
If that's true. But we know that Solomon had 1,005. That we can be sure of. 1,005, even though we don't know if he existed or not.
Okay. In his songs, he wrote about trees, beasts, creeping things, and fishes.
Yeah, he was the first naturalist.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm finding out that Solomon is kind of a special guy.
Yeah, he was. Everyone came from all over the earth just to hear him speak.
All over the earth?
Yeah.
That's pretty expansive parameters there.
Yeah, they came from Australia, and they came from China, and they came from the Native Americans. Yeah, they all came.
All right. So that is the end of chapter 4.
Yes, it is.
And Solomon's kind of still behaving himself.
Yeah. He was good in these 2 chapters.
Yes, he was. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing Solomon's wonders.
Yeah, I have a little bit
wisdom.
I'm not sure he was good at when he sacrificed those 1,000 animals, so that wasn't very good.
No.
But except for that, he was pretty good.
Okay, well, did he sacrifice those?
Yeah, I think so. Up in,
he just got them from other
3.
people. Oh.
No, chapter 3, verse 4. He had 1,000 burnt offerings in the high places at Gibeon.
Oh, yeah.
And that might have been to another god, which is okay with me. But,
yeah, but not to his god.
Yeah.
Huh. And remind me now, do people eat sacrificed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so like the people that were with him worshiping God also got to eat the sacrifices.
The priests did.
Oh, only the priests.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the fringe benefits of being a priest.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. So that people could be starving and only the priests would get the food.
I think so. Yeah, we'd have to go back and read the stuff in Leviticus to remind ourselves about that.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing this with me.
Uh-huh.
And thanks, listeners, for listening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.